Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. Now, if you're new to the Q&A, please remember that I film these on around about a Wednesday. So if you want to guarantee to have your question answered, then make sure that you ask it by Tuesday at the latest, and then I'll actually get to it. If I miss your question, I'm very sorry. Ask it again down below, and I will get back to it next week. Now, if you're new to the Q&As, you'll know that generally, as a rule, I don't read the questions ahead of time. I kind of like to be more spontaneous with my answers, so they're not thought out or planned out. But if there's a question that I think could provide the basis of a nice meaty video, I'll revisit it in more detail down the road. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of questions this week, so once again, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to join me here on Magic TV. It means the absolute world to me. Thank you very much, and without further ado, we're going to get into this week's questions. Okay, so the first question is from Sean McNulty Magician, and Sean says, in regards to your character, theme, etc., how do you decide on what your character is and what type of magic you do if you have too much theme types to choose from? So how do you decide on what your character is and what type of magic you do? Well, the type of magic, here's the thing. We spend a lot of time thinking about character and what your performing character is, and rightfully so. It is very, very important. But I think the most important thing is that you enjoy what you do. You enjoy the magic that you perform. Because if you enjoy the magic you perform, then other people are going to enjoy watching it again. It's kind of like the sales process. If you believe in the product and you're excited in the product that you're selling, then more people are going to buy what it is that you're selling because you're excited about it. You're enthusiastic about it. Or it's the same as a performer. The more excited you are about something that you're performing, the more people will buy into your performance. I have seen magicians go out and perform, and I've talked about this before on the channel. They're going through the motions. You can just tell they're bored and they don't really want to be there. They've been doing the same 5 or 6 tricks their entire career, and at this point now, it's not a challenge. It's just regurgitating a series of thought out lines. And for me, that's not art. That's not performance. That's just, parroting the same thing that you've done for the last 30 years. And if it works for somebody, that's great. But I firmly believe that you need to keep things fresh. You need to keep things interesting. I've also seen performers in the past that perform magic that they don't particularly like, and they do it because the audience likes it. And that's fine. But again, you're not going to have that enthusiasm there. The best tricks that I do are the ones that I'm super enthusiastic about. I personally like to do the type of magic that's very bold. Coin on shoulder, deck under box. I don't like to be too heavily scripted because I like the ability to go in different directions. That's one of the reasons I love the mem deck so much, because it allows me to jazz my performances and literally just take out a deck of cards and not know what I'm doing or what I'm going into and just make it up as I go. So I think that one of the biggest pieces of advice is, what type of magic do you do? You should always base your performing character, and you should always base the type of magic you do on what you love. So let's look at Tom Crosby. Tom Crosby's the performing nerd, right? So he goes out telling everyone he's a geek, he's a nerd, and all of the magic he does is based around being a geek or a nerd. Well, I've known Tom since he was a teenager, and I can tell you that he has always been that way. He's always been a geek, he's always been a nerd. All he's doing is he's embracing who he actually is. His performing character, his performing persona is just an extension of who he is. And the magic that he performs, Tom loves Rubik's Cubes. He's always loved Rubik's Cubes as far back as I can remember. So all he's doing is he's doing the type of magic that he enjoys doing and performing it in the type of style that he likes doing. And I think that's the most important thing. I see a lot of magicians, and what they do is they try to think up crazy characters that they can't relate to. I spoke to somebody the other day, and he was putting a stage show together, and he was like, right, okay, I'm going to put together a James Bond style stage show. It's all going to be themed to secret agents, and I'm going to have tricks that are built into objects, so it looks like I'm bringing out a gadget like James Bond. And I'm like, brilliant, that's great, I love that idea, that's awesome. And I said to him, do you watch spy films? Do you like spy films? Are there any other sort of films you can draw on other than James Bond? And he's like, no, I hate spy films. I was like, okay, so you got a background in like the Secret Service or the military or something? No, not at all. And the problem here is, having spoken to him, he decided he wanted to put this character together, because he thought that that's what people wanted to see. And maybe they do, I don't know. But if you don't know anything about that subject, and if you don't believe in that subject, and you have no frame of reference when it comes to that subject, you're going to struggle. So when you're putting your character together, because ultimately that's your question, isn't it? How do you decide on your character and what type of magic that you do? Look inward. Like, you don't have to be the next Piff the Magic Dragon. You don't have to be the next, like, super wrestler magician. You know, my character is, I'm just a cheeky guy that goes out and is sarcastic. And the type of magic that I do is, I'm not really doing magic. I'm just trying to kind of like a Greg Wilson style character. That's what I kind of go for. And that's fine for me. So I think when you're creating your character, make it about you and what you enjoy doing. And when you plan the magic out that you're performing, make it stuff that you really, really enjoy performing and the stuff that you really can relate to. I think that will help you ultimately in the long run. Okay, so the next question is from Mike Tyson by TKO, and he says, thanks, Craig. Thanks for always answering our questions and all you do for the community. This is a better place thanks to you. You're more than welcome. Thank you very much. Random odd question. When you and Ryland do the reviews, you guys always look to your left at the bin and where you keep the Providence bricks. Any chance we could get a camera pan over there to see what the magic boneyard looks like? Curiosity is killing the cat. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, absolutely. I'll try and put a little video in this video. If not, I'll do it on a future review show. But if I've got time, I'll do a little video on this video. Basically, my setup's very simple. Don't forget, I kind of put Magic TV together in lockdown. It was something I did in lockdown, so I was doing it from my house. Now, in my house, I have quite a lot of like outhouses. So I have a big man cave at the bottom of my garden, and I also have an office. And obviously I have the office here that I'm sitting in right now, which is where I run my companies from. So when I was putting Magic TV together originally, and if you look at the first episodes of the review show, you'll see this. It's in my office, right? It's in my office, my home office. The problem is it didn't work doing it there. And the reason is during lockdown, I was basically running everything I was doing from there, from this little office at the bottom of the garden. I was running my virtual shows. I was running, I was working on the computer. I was doing absolutely everything from down there. So I couldn't really film down there. So what we did is next to, actually, no, you've got the gym. So after the office, you've got the gym, then you've got the sauna, then you've got the showers, and then you've got my man cave. So what we did is we moved the recording studio into the man cave because there's quite a big area. So down the bottom you've got the TV, and you've got like tiered seating for for sort of a home cinema type thing, and there's loads of DVDs down there. And then at the top you've got a pool table that doubles up as a table tennis table, and you've got a bar, right? And what we did is we set the thing up. We set the table that we do the review show up basically at the top next to the pool table. So literally just off to the side of where we film is a pool table. It's actually a table tennis table at the moment. And then beyond that are shelves where we keep a whole bunch of magic stuff. And yeah, that's where we've been filming it basically for probably the last year. But since Magic TV's really taken off, we wanted to up the quality of everything. So we've been investing in new equipment, investing in new lighting and new sound, and a whole bunch of stuff. And the office, now the pandemic hopefully is over, we've obviously brought all of the operational stuff to do with the business back into this building I'm in right now. So I'm currently converting my little office that I was running my virtual shows from into a full recording studio for Magic TV. So that's where we're going to be filming all the Magic TV stuff in there. And so it's going to be we're kitting it out with posters and sound and a whole bunch of equipment. It's going to be like a full-on studio. So the production quality when that's done, which will hopefully be by the end of the year, will have raised massively on Magic TV. It's already raised recently because we've invested in new equipment already, but it's going to raise even more. So the reason I'm telling you that is because what you're about to see, if I get time to do the footage, what you're about to see is basically my home cinema, and that's where we film. That's where we sit at the table. And the table's a prop dog table, and then all around us is where we keep various different magic props. But I'm going to see if I can put that footage in this video. So if I can, it's going to go in this part right now coming up. But if not, I'll put it in a future video. Okay, so this is the studio. This is where we're currently filming from. That's the table. Now, this is where me and Ryland are always working on new stuff. We'll come and sit here together and work on stuff. So you can see that right now, Ryland's currently working on Killer Key by Jay Sankey. Inside that jiffy bag, there's prototypes that were delivered to me for a new trick by Alakazam. So I'm currently like workshopping that before I take it out to gigs. There's the famous radiator. Now, if you turn right, that's got a whole bunch of Rubik's Cubes in it. That's nothing but Rubik's Cubes. And over here, this is a table tennis table. It's also, you can take the top off and it becomes a pool table. And you can turn it over and it becomes an air hockey table, which is pretty cool. And then over here, there's the pool cues. This is where the first lot of magic comes. Now, most of my magic stuff is in my warehouse at my office. But this is all Ryland's Rubik's Cube stuff, or at least one shelf of it. This all looks messy, but it all absolutely makes sense. There's Alakazam stuff over there. Over there, you've got Penguin stuff. This is all stuff that, like, we're in the middle of kind of looking into reviewing. Over here, we've got cups and balls. You can see the Tommy Wonder cups and balls there. You can see Crystallize. Sort of various different gimmicks. Then going down onto the next shelf, you've got Big Blind Media, and you've got Card Shark and a whole bunch of other stuff. Bigger props down there. Now, the other office, which is out that door, that leads to the garden. And out the door, there's turn right, past the gym, past the sauna, past the showers, there's another office. That's where all of the library is. However, over here, there is a small section of books, just stuff that we're kind of researching for various different videos on Magic TV. Down here, that's every single bound edition of Abracadabra magazine ever made. Every single issue of Abracadabra, which is pretty cool. And then you asked about the cards. So over here, you can see there's Providence cards all the way back here. This row is 3 deep, and it's all speciality decks. 2 deep of Providence decks. At the back there, you've got regular blues, you've got regular reds. 3 rows of speciality decks, various different speciality decks. Then down there, you've got all gimmicked and gaffed packs of cards and double backers and double blanks and stuff. Down here, you've got all gimmicked cards and gimmicked decks. Here, we have all of our Henry Harrius Cuban bottles. We're running low. We're going to have to put another order in some point soon. Then over here, you got the bar. This is where me and Sarah sit and drink, although I actually come here at night and typically I'll sit here and come up with material. This is all of the stuff that we're currently in the middle of looking for review. So this is the stuff we're going to be reviewing next. So we've got the Sky Vanish, something to do with Coke, no idea. This is one of those smoke pads. We've got, I don't know what that is. Don't know what this, oh, Crazy Sam's handcuffs, so that's going to be reviewed soon. This is the new Ben Harris Vanishing Ink thing. We've got packs of cards. Peter Egg Ink, he'll be coming under the hammer soon. The new David Regal thing. So this is all the stuff that we're currently in the middle of looking at reviewing. Over here is all of Ryland's stuff that he's working on. Arcade Machine, just because. Actually, we're putting Ryland's new show together, and if you're interested, this is a Tom Stone Quantum Logic that he's actually going to be doing in his show. Those that know, but that's going to be in Ryland's new show. This is where we have family movie nights. Loads of DVDs over there. They go 3 deep. Some art that we plan on putting on the wall. We're really into Nerf. That's 2 big boxes of Nerf. We have Nerf battles in here. Dartboard, obvious. TV, all the various different devices down there. And then over here, we've got more stuff, a few more books. Tons of coin gimmicks. Loads and loads of random coin gimmicks. This isn't where I keep all the coin stuff. This is just like stuff that I'm kind of working on. Next row down, you've got wax, and you've got more gimmicks and more gaffs and stuff with Sharpie markers and things like that, and envelopes and stationery and so on and so forth. That's the Jay Sankey section down there. More Sharpies, the Steve Rowe section. More books. That's Ryland's stuff down there as well. He's currently working on a tape cup routine. That's Tape Cup. So yeah, and then that's it. So, I mean, that's everything. That's what this is. So when you see the stuff being filmed, it's kind of being filmed from this area, but very, very soon we'll be moving into a completely different area. So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. This is from Chris Ash, and Chris says, "Hi Craig, just wanted to say thank you for getting me back into practicing magic the last 24 months. You're more than welcome, and it's a pleasure having you on the Netrix, Chris, and having you in the silver sessions and the VCMs. I really appreciate you being there. Just another random question. Is it worthwhile or feasible for a hobbyist to pursue membership to the Magic Circle?" Absolutely, 100%, my friend. You know, the Magic Circle's for everybody, not just professionals, but amateurs. Absolutely everyone can be a member of the Magic Circle. And one thing that I've learned from being around the Magic Circle a lot more recently is it has become an awful lot more inclusive. It's a great place. It really, really is. And what's nice about the Magic Circle is that they have an apprentice group, right? So what happens is when you apply and you join, obviously you've got to do once you've had the interview and everything, you've got to do an audition at some point, but you get put into an apprentice group, I think for a year or so. And in that apprentice group, there's other apprentices, and then there's like really expert magicians. And the goal of being in that Facebook group just for the apprentices, and they have training and live sessions and so on and so forth, is to get you ready to do your audition. And then you'll go into headquarters and you'll do your audition. And if you don't pass, it's not a problem. I've got a friend who auditioned recently and didn't pass, so he's just rebooked his audition. Totally not an issue. And you go back into the apprentice group until you've passed, at which point you'll be in the Magic Circle. And if you ever need any help or advice in how to what to put together in order to actually enter the Magic Circle and how your audition should run, I'd be more than happy to help you. But yeah, for sure, man, that the Magic Circle now, because they stream all of their lectures, there's so many benefits of being a Circle member. There really is. It's absolutely 100% worth joining. Okay, so the next question is from Philip Austin, and Philip says, "Craig, thanks for answering my question on six-sided dice miracle. You're more than welcome. I was unaware that there were 2 dice marked 56. My question, how are you able to recall all the hundreds of effects and illusions that you've learnt over your career so far? And what revision techniques do you employ to keep your memory active? Excellent channel, so informative. Keep the magic alive, Phil." Thanks, Phil. So I'm just blessed with a good memory for remembering tricks. I've got a terrible memory for pretty much anything else, but I've got great memory for remembering tricks. So, and if I don't remember it, all I have to do is like sit there with the props for a minute, and I can put it together again. Absolutely not a problem. It's just something I've always been able to do. Now, I am quite. The person you need to speak to about this is Nemid Phoenix. Nemid Phoenix, my friend Nemid, is anal when it comes to cataloging everything, and he's got spreadsheets on top of spreadsheets and files and God knows what, and everything's cataloged into various different things. I don't do that, but I do keep track of tricks that I really like. That, if I've learned a trick and I feel like it's going into my set and it's something that's worth actually keeping in my memory banks, I have lots of different sort of, not spreadsheets, but little folders on my computer, and it'll take me 2 seconds to type, hey, okay, so Lightyear is a perfect example by Kyle Purnell that I'll be reviewing later on. I really like that. Now, I know that at some point I'm going to gig it, but at some point it might jump out of my repertoire and then go back into my repertoire down the line, right? And at that point, I might forget what the trick is. So what I'll do is I'll put into a particular category, Lightyear, Kyle Purnell, and I'll put the link to the instructional video, okay, in there as well. And then I'll just literally write, hey, a brief 1 sentence about how the method works. That if you read it, it wouldn't make any sense. But for somebody who knows how it works, that would make absolute, complete and total sense. And that's generally all I need to sort of kickstart the old synapses and actually remember how the trick works. But I don't have to do that an awful lot. I don't have to go back and look at this stuff because, like I say, I've got a pretty good memory for tricks. I can literally pick something up that I haven't done for years and pretty much be able to do it almost straight away. And I think it comes from performing. I mean, I perform all of the time, not just performing on here and performing the Magic Lives, but out doing gigs. I perform all of the time, and I don't do the same 5 or 6 tricks over and over again like some magicians do. I'm very eclectic with it. I could do 3 close-up jobs in one weekend, and I could do a completely different range of tricks in each close-up show. Now, you're going to have people say, well, that's not good and you shouldn't do that. I just love doing that. I love variety is the spice of life. I don't want to get bored doing this stuff. The day that I get bored of performing, the day that this becomes a chore, is the day that I give it all up. And I think it's very important that we make things as fresh as possible. And one way that I keep things fresh is by constantly challenging myself. How do I constantly challenge myself? By putting new routines into my act all the time. Whether that be something that I'm creating, or whether that be something that I've learned that I'm putting into my act. Whether it be whatever it is, I'm constantly changing my material around. I'm constantly going in different directions with it. And that allows me to really tailor the magic I do to the event that I'm actually performing at. So if I'm doing walk around, I see advice, and it's good advice that you do the same 3 or 4 tricks over and over again. If it's a big corporate do, I wouldn't do that. I like to vary things up. I like to change things around, and I like to put new routines in my act. And I see a lot of magicians, and they go and spend a fortune on new magic tricks, and then they won't actually do anything with those new tricks. They'll just park them and not bother do anything with them because they're scared about actually going and doing them in a real gig. And my attitude is, I want to do this new stuff, so I just force myself to do it. And by doing that, I'm going to have even better material and even better material. So yeah, I mean, there's not really any advice I can give you. I'm just organized with keeping track of the tricks I like. And the big piece of advice I can give you is make sure you keep hold of that link for the tutorial, because if at some point you do forget how a trick's done, it's very difficult. Now everything's online. There's normally a link to a Vimeo video or a YouTube video or a Murphy's Magic video or somewhere where the tutorial will be stored. Make sure that when you note down the tricks that you like, you put that video. So worst case scenario, if you completely forget how the trick works, it's totally not an issue, because you can go look at that tutorial and then you can remind yourself what the trick is and how it works. Okay, so the next question is from Antonio Diaz Ballesteros, and Antonio says, hey Craig, I've got a question about your project Cheeky. You've posted the video performances of 3 of the routines in Cheeky, Think, Gamble and Photo. Is it possible for us to watch the other 4 routines, TARDIS, Exposed, Ace, Back and Closer, in order to decide if I buy it? Thank you. You know what? I tend not to do a full performance of every single trick. At least immediately. They'll drip out over the coming weeks and months and years on this channel. I've just actually, the TARDIS routine is one that I've just filmed for a future 5x5. I've got live performance footage of me doing it, so that'll go up at some point soon. But in terms of performing all the other routines, you say to decide whether you want to buy it or not. I've been very transparent about this deck. Everybody knows what it is. I did a full map test on it. I did a review show special on it. I've talked about it. It's a cheat-to-cheat deck that's stripped. So it allows you to do an instant reset of the cheat-to-cheat deck. And there's 9 routines included in the project that take advantage of the cheat-to-cheat properties and take the concept in a totally different direction in terms of the routines that are included in the project. There's a rotational stack included in the deck, so it's not just random regular cards. It's a rotational stack that allows you to do routines like Think, although you can do lots of other routines that involve thought of cards. If at this point you don't know whether the trick's for you or not, then it's probably not for you. I couldn't be more transparent about what the trick is, and that's fine. It's not for everybody. That's not a problem. But I don't think me posting a performance of any more of the routines will help you decide whether to buy it or not. You've seen a lot of what it is. You know exactly what it is. If it's not for you, that's fine. Not a problem at all. But no, so at some point I'll perform those other routines. By the way, I'm going to Alakazam in a couple of weeks, and I'm filming another 3 routines for the Cheeky project. Because since Cheeky got filmed, I've created another 3 routines with the Cheat-to-Cheat deck. And so those 3 tricks are getting filmed and added to people's accounts. So there's actually going to be another 3 as well. And I'll probably perform those at some point as well. But in terms of whether you buy it or not, really it's down to you. But I don't think me performing another routine of the Cheeky project will help you decide whether to buy it or not. Okay, so the next question is from Zed Magic, and Zed says, hi Craig, hi Zed. Hope you have a nice week so far. Yes, thank you very much. I was wondering when you plan on making or uploading your download review show special. I've seen so many people review physical products, but never seen anyone review download. All the best. I've done a couple of download lowdowns. That's what I call it when I do a review show special on downloads. I call it the download lowdown. I've done 3 of them so far, I think, and we touch on downloads in the review show sometimes. Like, I think recently we reviewed Joseph B. Trick. So we do that from time to time. I've got a bunch of downloads that I need to review. So probably in the next couple of weeks, I'll put another download lowdown up. There's quite a lot of, like, this Sunday, we've got the Carl Pennell Lightyear review show special. And then next weekend, I know what I'm doing on the review show special, but perhaps the week after. There's some really good downloads. It kind of upsets me doing downloads sometimes because there's so much tat out there. There's so many terrible downloads. It just feels like I'm wasting my time watching those tutorials. But I will do another one for you, and I'll do another one soon. So look out for it. I might even do it as a video in the week as a special bonus. Okay, so the next question is from Justin Hutchins, and Justin says, question, Craig, thanks for answering my question last week. I really appreciate the time and effort you put into the Q&A and everything you do on Magic TV. I can't find anything close to it on YouTube, that what you're doing for the Magic community. I think you and Lloyd Barnes are ruling Magic on YouTube. I'll tell you now for certain, any negative comments you get are jealous, useless people that will never achieve 1% of what you've done. Thank you, man. That really means a lot because it's tough sometimes. Now my question. I've learned how to colour full deck of cards into red and black for an out of this world effect that's taken me months to learn just to get it looking not bad. Well, it's a very good skill to have, Justin, trust me. Not complaining, I'm glad I did it. It's now fun to do. Don't want to give anything away, but the trick from your mate at Penguin Magic. I know exactly what you're talking about, and it's a killer trick. Anyway, I've learned this skill, but only can do this trick, which is great, but what else can I do with it? Is there any more tricks I can learn with a red-black separation from the start, or general cull tricks? Well, having the ability to cull a deck into red and black allows you to openly in front of the audience set a deck up to do some incredible routines. So think about routines that either require the deck starting with a separation of red and black, or think about routines that involve the deck starting with an alternate red-black separation, because if you can cull the deck into red and black and do a Pharaoh shuffle, you've now got a deck that's alternating red and black. Don't think of it as what trick can I do with a cull. Think of it with a full deck cull. Think of it as what routines start with a separation that I can now get into on the fly using a skill that very few people have learnt. So off the top of my head, Neither Blind Nor Stupid is a perfect example. It's one of the best Juan Tamarich tricks you'll ever see. Just go on YouTube and type in Neither Blind Nor Stupid. I've actually done a performance of it. And it's an amazing trick. It really is such a strong trick. It requires you to have a particular setup at the beginning that now, thanks to this skill that you've learned, you're going to be able to get into this on the fly. Another example, if you can cull and separate red and black, you can then, and think about the routine and the structure of this, you can separate the cards into suits. Clubs, hearts, spades, and diamonds, right? Because what you do is you do a cull separating the reds and blacks, then you do another cull separating the hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades. It's not a difficult thing to do if you know what you're doing. So think about routines that require that sort of setup. JC Super Closer is a perfect example by JC Wagner. JC Wagner's Super Closer is a great thing that you could get into from a shuffled deck of cards in use by using the skill that you've learned. So yeah, I mean, so there's that. Think about routines that you can now do on the fly because you can separate the deck. Outside of routines where any routine where you show that the deck is separated into red and black is cool. So for example, and I'll give you another example. Let's say that you're doing this is a perfect example. Let's say that you're going to do an oil and water, okay, with a shuffled regular deck of cards in use. You're going to do an oil and water. Now imagine with this oil and water, you're going to take out 3 red cards and 3 black cards. Now think about, in the action of taking 3 red cards and 3 black cards out, you're culling the rest of the deck. Now you can do an oil and water routine, and at the end of the oil and water routine, as a kicker, you can show that the cards have separated into red and black. I mean, what an incredible incredible moment, right? And that logically makes sense because the whole routine is about red cards and black cards separating. And then you've got the red cards and the black cards separating, and then at the end, the entire deck separates red and black. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go with this. And, maybe I'll do 3 tricks with a full deck Cull that you've never seen before as a future video. Maybe that'd help. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments down below. But that should get you started. Think about routines that you can get into on the fly, and think about routines where you can add a red-black separation as a kicker at the end of the routine. As I say, oil in water is a great example, but there's lots of other examples out there as well. Okay, so the next question is from Rob Magic 101, and Rob says, "Hey Craig, I've noticed the image quality of your videos has become a lot clearer. Is it okay to ask what your setup is?" Yeah, like I said earlier on, we're investing heavily in the setup. I'm not going to go through the setup right now. Your question is a question that's been asked an awful lot. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to start doing a few more videos on YouTube growth at some point soon. And one thing I'm going to do is go through my new setup, go through my old setup, and how and why I changed to the new setup. But yeah, thanks for noticing, because it's been quite a long process, quite an expensive process as well. So I'm glad you've noticed. Okay, so the next question is from David Murphy, David M. Hey Craig, hey David, it was great seeing you the other week. I know you've always liked Brent Braun's original FPS wallet for the card to wallet. I was wondering if you'd tried Brent's new FPS Z to wallet. That seems to be a bit larger with more qualities built in. I just ordered one and look forward to becoming my EDC wallet. From the description, they seem to have added the Himba wallet function to repeat card to wallet and other upgrades to the original. Yeah, look, I've just ordered one as well. I'm going to be reviewing it as soon as it comes. It looks exceptional. Anything that Brent puts his name to is amazing. I remember interviewing him. If you haven't seen the interview with Brent Braun, check it out. He actually briefly showed this on the interview and talked about how it was going to be coming out soon. I love the idea. I love the FPS wallet. I think it's one of the best card to wallets on the market, and I think that the improvements are going to make this even better. I can't comment more on it because I haven't got it in my hands. I will say it's going to take a lot for me to not use the Orphic wallet, because I love the Orphic wallet, but if anybody can pull that off, it's going to be Brent. As soon as I've got it in my hands, we'll give it a review on the review show. The next question is from Seth Howard, and Seth says, "Great video as always." Thank you very much, Seth. I know the answer to this question ultimately depends on Penguin, but any chance of selling individual key gimmicks for Keymaster? I haven't lost hope yet, but I think I may have lost one of mine. Oh, and then you reply saying, actually, you've got it. Still, you care about the answer. You know what? That's a good question. I've never had that question before. I will ask Penguin. I know that we're doing a lot more with keys moving forward. We want to have like a range of key-related tricks, and that's something that I'm actively working on with Penguin. So maybe they will suggest, like, maybe we can do one-off gimmicks. But again, you are right. It's nothing to do with me. It's Penguin's call. I don't really have anything to do with that. But I think it's a really good idea, and it's something that I definitely think that they should go for. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, and Adrian says, "Hey Craig, I like your new style in the rant videos. Just thought I'd want to mention this." Thank you very much. I've had people say to me, "Oh, the rants are back. Are you swearing and shouting again?" without even checking them out. No, I'm not swearing. There might be one cuss word in there, but I'm not really swearing. It's really more, maybe rants is a misnomer. It's really more of a kind of an observation of what's going on in the Magic community now, as opposed to a rant, because a lot of the time they're not full-on rants, but it's stuff that I really care passionately about, to the point that I want to make a video on. So thanks for noticing. That's not your question, though. Here's my question. What are your top 3 utility devices that can be used for a lot of different close-up routines? So top 3 utility devices for close-up. Okay, for a lot of different routines. Well, the first would have to be the thumb tip, right? Because you can do so much with the thumb tip. Like, you can do so much. You can do paper money, $100 bill switch. You can do coin routines. I should do a video on the 3 best thumb tip tricks of all time, shouldn't I? I don't think I've done that. One of my favorite routines is Nate Kranzo's hot sauce, which is just incredible. And also talking about Nate, had a really good routine where he bends a coin. It's a coin bend, but he adds fire to it, and there's a flash of fire. It's really, really good. There's so much you can do with the thumb tip, man. There's so much. My Skittles, I say my Skittles trick because I've done it for years. It's Michael Kaminskis' Skittles trick. I just think of it as my trick because I just always do it. So Michael Kaminskis' Skittle trick, where you open a pack of Skittles, tip the Skittles out, and then put them down, and then heal up the pack and give it to them. Incredible trick. There's so much you can do with the thumb tip. So I think the thumb tip would have to be the first utility device. I think the second one would have to be a pull, but a nice utility pull. I'm not just talking about like a coin on an elastic, but a nice like utility pull that can like literally grab a deck of cards or a coin or anything, because again, that allows you to do so much stuff. Having a pull, there's so much you can do with a pull that you can't do with any other method. You know, I'm doing this thing at the moment in close-up where I've actually got a pull that makes a Rubik's Cube disappear. And one of the routines I'm doing is I'm having a Rubik's Cube vanish in close-up, throwing it up in the air and having it appear in a bag that they've been holding the whole time. So I think using a pull allows you to have a lot of different options open to you. And I think the third and the final thing would be the top it. And again, the top it opens up so many possibilities. I remember the first time I saw Patrick Page use a top it, and I was absolutely blown away. And I knew from watching Patrick do it, I wanted to do it. And then I saw Michael Amar use a top it, and I was blown away by what he was trying to achieve. And then on top of that, I saw David Penn. And I think at this point, David Penn is probably the best top it user in the world, in my opinion, right now. You know, if you haven't seen his project on the top it, you really should get it. It comes with the top it, what David considers to be the best top it in the market. The routines he does with it, his circle to the fourth dimension coin routine, where he's got a coin and as he passes it through a ring, it vanishes and then comes back. I've gone on record and I mean it. That's one of the best coin routines I've ever seen. And it's all based around using a top it. So it's a really nice thing. And there's so much you can do with the top it. That David does another routine where he takes some salt and puts it down, taps the salt shut. He's got a very different style of top-itting to anyone else I've seen. So yeah, I'd say the top it, the pull, and the thumb tip. But that's a really great question. Okay, so the next question is Vogler. Vogler? I think so. My son is 13 months old. When is good to start showing him magic? I'm guilty of already showing him just a bit. 13 months old, man. I was showing magic to Ryland from when he was a baby. Like Anthea, I was showing them magic tricks. I mean, they didn't get it, you know, at the age of 1, everything's magic, right? You switch a light on in the building and it's magic. You open and close the door, it's magic, because they don't understand how the world works. To them, making a coin disappear is as amazing as a door opening up or pressing a button and having a TV light up. All of this stuff is magical. I think Ryland was 2 when he started learning magic. I've got videos of him learning how to vanish a coin at the age of 2. So I started teaching him magic at 2. I say teaching him magic. I was making coins disappear at the age of 2. Maybe my technique was bad, I don't know. But he started grabbing my other hand. So I'd been showing it to him since he was a baby, and I was doing this and showing this, and it got to a point he was always amazed, and then one day he just grabbed my wrist and turned my hand over, and you know, obviously I'm just not very good at vanishing coins, and so I tried to do it again, and he turned my hand over, and I'm like, okay, he's got this, he understands what I'm doing here. So then I had him hold his hand out, and I got him to like do it, and I was like, would you like to learn to do this? And he's like, yeah. And so I started teaching him, and he learned how to do a coin vanish at the age of 2, and from there his magical training began. But I think 13 months is a bit too young. But I mean, I think the most important thing is get them to love magic, and the way you get them to love magic is by performing magic to them all the time. Thea might not be into magic, although she now wants to be in Ryland's Illusion show, God help her. But she loves watching magic. She'll sit there and watch it for days and days and days. She loves watching magic. And I think performing magic to your children, whether they ultimately end up becoming magicians or getting an interest in magic as a hobby or not, they'll enjoy watching it. And I think that's one of the most important things. Okay, so the next question is MCK Studios, and MCK says, what's your advice for building an audience on YouTube? Well, I've got a bunch of stuff on the Netrix about this in silver level, where I talk about YouTube growth, and I'm planning on doing more videos on YouTube and more stuff on the Netrix. But really, it's a 5C approach. If I can break this down into 2 minutes, it's a 5C approach. The first is charisma. You've got to be charismatic. If you're sitting there and you are bored and blah, 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 blah. It's not going to come across, right? You need to be charismatic. So the first C is charismatic. Work on your tone of voice, work on your work on your, just how you put yourself across. Make yourself interesting to listen to. The second C is content. You have to make it interesting. You have to make it something that people would want to watch and want to listen. And you do that through research. You do that by researching various different search terms and what people are into. You use apps like TubeBuddy to work out what people are into at the moment, and you just keep your ear to the ground. But content is also very important. So charisma, content. Another C would be creating an audience, niching down, figure out what your audience is. Like my audience, very simply, are people that are into magic, and different magic people will have different. So for example, Lloyd attracts a lot of people that are very, very new into magic. Because of doing tutorials. I don't do tutorials, so I don't get that audience. I see magicians that do YouTube videos, and they put up like performance videos of themselves and they get no views. And the reason is, who is that video designed for? Is it designed for a layperson or a magician, right? So creating an audience is also really important. Consistency is the fourth C. You got to be consistent, and you have to put a schedule together. So know when you're going to post and actually have that schedule in place. So everybody knows on Magic TV, Sunday, 12 o'clock, there's going to be a Q&A. Everyone knows Wednesday, 5 o'clock, there's going to be a review show. Everyone knows Monday, 9 o'clock, there's going to be a 5x5. Everyone knows Saturday, 9 o'clock, there's going to be a Talk Magic. There's certain things that you know that you're going to see on the channel at various different times. And I'm consistent. People know when those videos are going up. I never miss an upload. And that's really important. So consistency is probably the most important thing of the whole thing. And then the last one is call to action. Why are you doing YouTube in the first place? What's your call to action? What action do you want people to take from watching your videos? Like my call to action is the Netrix. If you look at the description at the very, very top, it's, hey, join the Netrix, www.thenetrix.com. Go and join it and try it out for a month. See what you think. That's my call to action. So what are your call to action? So this is a very brief outline. There's a hell of a lot more to it. And I do go into this in more depth in the Netrix, and I will be doing so on YouTube, but a lot of the content is on the Netrix. But that hopefully should give you a bit of a starting point. Okay, so the next question is from David Higgins, and David says, hi Craig, hi David, how are you doing? I really love your channel, thank you very much, and I also love Lloyd's channel, as you should, it's brilliant. My question is, every Sunday Lloyd does the Sunday service, and I was wondering if you were ever going to do a live stream on YouTube. I think that that's something that all of the fans of Magic TV would like to see. Okay, I've never actually considered doing a live stream. I fell into YouTube. I've been making it up as I go. The plan was never to be a YouTuber. I still don't consider myself a YouTuber. I got described the other day as a YouTuber, and I'm like, really? Am I? I don't consider myself a YouTuber. I consider myself a performer that uploads YouTube videos. So I'm kind of blag it. Everything that I've learned about YouTube, I've learned by doing research and making mistakes. And, you know, it's that old expression, isn't it? Experience is what you win when you lose. I've made so many mistakes in this whole YouTube thing, but I learned from it, right? And I've never thought about doing the online streaming thing. I've never thought about doing a live stream. It's just not something I've ever considered doing. Would I do it? Absolutely. The whole reason for doing Magic TV is to give back to the community. Despite what trolls think or might say or not say, trust me, I put this time and effort in because I want to give back to the Magic community. If people want to see a live stream, I can do a weekly live stream. Absolutely not a problem. I just need to know if people are interested in watching it or not. So genuine question, comment down below. Would you like to see a weekly live stream by myself? Once a week, live streaming, would that be something that you guys would be interested in watching it? And if you would be interested, please genuinely let me know down below, because it's going to be time and effort, but it's something I could put together if enough people are interested. And if you were interested, when would you like to see that live stream take place? Like you said, Lloyd does Sunday service on a Sunday at 5 o'clock GMT. When would you guys like to see it? I wouldn't want to step on Lloyd's toes. So if that was something that I did, when would you guys like to see it? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so the next question is from Jack Cat, and Jack says, hi Craig, thanks again for your informative sessions. You're more than welcome, Jack. I was going through a box of junk and came across an Omni deck with an etched Queen of Spades on the bottom. So you can see the Queen of Spades when you look through the clear deck. I can't work out any way to use the deck. If I forced the Queen of Spades and then did a deck switch proclaiming that the deck had disappeared in the spectator's hands and their selected card was still there, it doesn't add up to me. Also, what rationale would you use to cover the deck with a random card and then take that card from their closed hands? Have you any idea on how to use this gimmick? Thanks, Jack. I've seen these gimmicks before. It's by Prop Dog. It's a Prop Dog deck. And you can etch a card into the bottom of an Omni deck. I have seen them before. Never got myself one. For the same reasons that you're saying here, it didn't kind of make sense to me, so to speak. However, having said that, there's probably a few things that you could do with it. I'm trying to think now. There are definitely a few ways that you can actually use a gimmick like this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a pin on this. This is not the sort of thing I can answer to any degree of quality straight now. I want to think about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to as soon as I finish this Q&A, I'm going to make a note to come back to this next Sunday, and I'm going to present some ideas for you as to how you can use the thing, okay? So give me a week to think about it. I don't just want to come up with some off-the-cuff ideas. Give me a week to think about it, and I'll get back to you next week on this, I promise. Okay, so the next question is from Sean McNulty Magician, and Sean says, bold question, but I have my Magic Circle exam at the end of November via Zoom. Any advice? And also, I'm looking for some magicians to run it past when you have some free time in November. So, two things about that. One, yes, absolutely. Please just drop me a message, phone me. My phone number's everywhere. Or message me or something. Although I'm not good at Facebook Messenger. I'm terrible at Facebook Messenger. I'm even worse at Instagram Messenger. The best way to get hold of me is by phoning me, texting me, WhatsApping me, or worst case scenario, email me at craig@magictv.org. But phone number is best. So that's that. In terms of any advice, do the stuff that you're comfortable with. Don't try and be clever. Don't try and do a whole bunch of stuff that you've put together specifically for the Magic Circle audition. It's not going to work, right? Just do stuff that you're comfortable doing. And also, I know that you're performing to a big group of people. It's more of a parlor situation than it is a close-up situation. But don't try and shoehorn stage tricks into a close-up performance. I've got a friend of mine who recently did an audition for the Magic Circle, and he did a stage routine in there. And because of how the stage routine's done, there were elements that didn't work, and so he took them out. And so it ended up being a half-assed version of a really good trick because it was adapted to be used in a situation that it wasn't meant or intended to be used in. So stick to close-up magic, and stick to close-up magic that will work, that you've done a million times, upside down, back to front, left to right. Don't just try and put something together because you think that's what the Magic Circle wants to see. Put together the routine that you are best doing based on material that you always use, and run it over and over again in front of as many people as you can. Invite some friends around the house and just run it and say, hey, I've got an audition, can I run my act past you? And then ask them to give you honest feedback, both laymen and magicians. So you get the magicians to give you honest feedback, but you also give the lay people honest feedback and say, look, I really want to know what you thought of this. Is there anything that didn't work? Is there anything that you thought really worked? Magicians can talk to you about moves that maybe you didn't do very well or you flashed. Laymen can talk about the entertainment value of it. But just run it over and over and over again. Be prepared. Go into it. Make sure that you've got everything there. And dress smart. I'm not a big dress smart person, but, it won't do any harm, especially at the Magic Circle. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Once again, thank you so much for joining me here on Magic TV. Don't forget, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. You want to ask a question for next week's Q&A, get it in the comments to this video. If you want to see me do a live stream or a regular live stream, let me know in the comments down below. And finally, and most importantly, if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and try the Netrix out, www.thenetrix.com. I'm putting so much time and effort into making this the best online streaming platform for magicians, and if you want to support me, that's the way to do so. I will be back again very, very soon. This evening I'm back with a review show special on Kyle Purnell's brand new trick Lightyear from Penguin Magic. There's also going to be a Magic Live coming out at 6 o'clock as well, so look out for all of that stuff. I will see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.